I just watched an episode or a segment from the John Campus show, and then I guess an article popped up. He was covering an article about the Netflix losing pretty much all of their licensed shows, their most popular shows. And it seems, unfortunately, that the shows that are not a Netflix original, besides Stranger Things, are the most popular shows to watch on Netflix, which is a concern for me because Netflix is their own brand and really their own shows should stand out. I mean, really, I guess their strongest shows are Stranger Things, Squid Game, I guess, but Stranger Things is pretty much the highlight of everything that they've produced. Um, which saddens me because people are really not, or maybe that's the thing, maybe seeking out content is maybe provide a challenge for the average audiences to figure out what to watch. So I guess maybe the numbers for HBO Max and Hulu, or I don't know, are up. Wouldn't surprise me if HBO Max is up there because there's so much content on there that people recognize and are familiar with, and they already know. And maybe that's what. Maybe that's it. Maybe audiences kind of want to be told what to watch or want to watch something that's already familiar, which is kind of the trend with what we're going for now to this day. I guess that's why you see a deterioration of movies that try to, or properties that try to tackle original content that is, well, original. You've never really heard anything about it. But let's say like superheroes, like the Avengers, Marvel, everything, or DC. It's familiar. Everybody knows that, so they're gonna go watch it. Depending, doesn't matter how crappy or whatever result of that property comes out. Batman, Superman, Spider Man. Everybody's gonna go watch that. Everybody knows that. Or maybe it's something, I don't know, they're gonna bring back that's familiar, like I don't know, Mad Max, which wasn't too popular, but I think culturally phenomenon. Yeah. And reviving. I don't watch Gossip Girl, but I don't watch all those current popular shows like that. But let's say like Downtown Abbey or whatever, they bring those shows back, and you know something about those shows had some sort of resonance with people. I'm not. For me, when it came to watching shows, I tend to venture out into shows that don't really have a trend basis. Um, like like the Jamie Foxx show, the Wayans brothers show, or Martin. Let's say those shows come back, and I heard a rumor that Martin might come back a while ago. It was a while ago rumor, but it's a rumor that I heard that it might come back. That's gonna flood the streaming service. Like if HBO Max decides to bring back Martin, or maybe even the Wayans brothers, you're gonna have subscribers. And maybe I don't know. Maybe that's I don't know. Maybe it's just content or just properties people are familiar with because maybe there's something about it that's relatable. Maybe they're preaching about a certain topic or certain theme in the show that's pretty much relatable. Um, and I guess that's kind of why mainstream studios or mainstream studio properties try not to do anything that's a little bit out of the ordinary, which works. It works. It's a business. It's a business standpoint as to why things work in a certain way. Now, if you do something that's a little bit different, you know, it might not get the amount of recognition that it could get. Like if you do a superhero film that just dark and gritty about a disfigured man wanting revenge against those who wronged him, something to like Darkman, you can probably alienate a lot of people compared to Spider-Man or Batman or whoever. Which that's an underrated movie. I haven't seen that movie in years. Um, One of my favorite superhero films. And I don't think it's necessarily the woke content, because that's happening everywhere, no matter what streaming service you go to. And that's probably the thing. There's something familiar on these platforms besides Netflix that is not a Netflix original. People can go back to and, you know, find some sort of nostalgic out of it. And I think that's what Netflix lacks. And Netflix been around, I don't know how many years, but the streaming platform really start kicking in around the early 2000s. I know 2010s, I think. Well, for me, 2017, but or longer. It's been around. Okay, it's been around for almost a decade. So it kind of and when that when Netflix started coming on, I had a sudden fear realization that, man, theaters are screwed. So I think Netflix just hasn't had a show or property that really had some sort of phenomenon that was, I guess, long lasting. And Stranger Things is probably the only one. Maybe of the maybe Netflix, maybe there's shows that could have last longer, that could spark more popularity. Some of them get canceled after second or third season. And I think that's probably one of Netflix's downfalls of canceling shows before they could really like pick up. Um, like the Marvel shows got gritty and darker. That's one of their bigger sells, but since those are no longer on their streaming platforms and Disney took them, well, they're in a pickle. They're in a pickle. Okay, and I just heard they lost their show Friends. Actually, yeah, when I watched that video with John Campa about Netflix losing their licenses on certain shows, they paid $100 million for Friends. Honestly, that was a waste. My personal opinion, I think that's a waste because you're just further proving a point that everybody else's content is better than your own. That tells me Netflix doesn't have complete faith in their own material, which I have faith in their material. I'm loving their material. I love their content. I actually like that some of the series are short. Realizing people's attention spans are short, like for me, if a series lasts, I don't know, like it depends on the series. It depends it depends on the series. But for me, I haven't really stuck around a lot of shows that have long series. Like the only series I've stuck around from like beginning to end was Dragon Ball. I have not bothered to really stick with Super. Supposed to ask now canon. Naruto, I kind of gave up after Baruto got introduced, and I just like this. This is too long. It's too long. Walking Dead, I think that's gonna end. Thank God. Too long, too long, too long. But it's popular. But I think certain decisions that show has made has hurt its viewership. I guess the main one was Glenn's death, which I thought that was bold. I actually like some of these shows take some bold risk, but it has damaged their reputation. But I feel like if a show doesn't do anything unique or different, and it's not gonna fly, it's gonna get boring. And that's what Netflix does. Netflix, believe it or not, tries to seek out unique premises that you don't normally see on your average streaming, on your average television shows. Like I guess there's a show mentioned on it's like a HGTV home guardian television show. I guess is How to Build a Sex Room, which I don't think I'm gonna watch. That's unusual. I don't think you'll see that on average TV, but you'll see it on Netflix. Netflix got some outrageous premises, and I've seen a few, and they're actually really well thought out and good, which I'm really liking. Netflix also revives certain shows that might have got canceled on your regular streaming services, and they'll bring it back. brother just showed me some random video on TikTok of some dude just telling their kid to suck out the meat out of the lobster, but he's saying like suck out that booty meat. Anyway, where was I? Netflix. Netflix with their content. Yeah, they're getting shows from other properties that they're basically saying we don't have faith in our own shows, but we'll just have content, just have content. Bad move. Bad move. I'm liking a lot of their shows. Actually, I think one of the best shows that they got right now, and they just finished their series, and I'm on their final season. Lost in Space, man. Um, it's actually really good. It's a fun family adventure story of retelling the Robinson family. I don't know how many seasons the original went on, but I don't mind some of the changes that they've done. Um, Honestly, it feels a little bit realistic to according to modern day societal norms now. Just to me, but I have to tell you, I think that show has to be one of the best looking visual effect looking TV like science fiction show I have seen. I have seen. You could tell the money was really put in there, and I am amazed how good this show looks. I'm amazed how, and I'm kind of getting annoyed at what people shit on that series. It's a good adventure series. For kids and family, it's a PG kid show. Not I don't want to say kid show, but a PG family friendly kind of like kid show, kid adventure. Where I don't know, I feel like that's kind of missing in a lot of sci-fi shows now or sci-fi adventures, where you feel the adventure kind of go like just playing out in the I feel like you don't get a lot of those anymore, and I feel like I'm having a great time watching that. And I'm on their final season now. I mean, it ended, but I'm on their final season. One of the best visual effects I've seen, like in anything I've seen, anything, and it actually looks real. Like actually looks real. Maybe actually, except for a few shots here or there, but it actually looks real. Um, an anime that I think it's underrated and I think it's intense as heck. Tokyo Sinks 2020, which I'll recommend that. I'll talk about it on my channel. About a family trying to survive a huge earthquake in Tokyo, in Japan, that's left the island like devastated. And they're just trying to find the best way to survive. And I'm gonna spoil a little bit of it. I have not been like I have not been invested in anime for like a while, except for this, where the situation that the characters get in, you are literally scared for them. And little spoiler of the series, each member would die in every like in an episode, and then you're down to whatever remaining is left. And I'm at the edge of my seat, really investing into the episode. And maybe I don't know, maybe it's a strategy thing. Maybe maybe Netflix needs to relook into releasing all their stuff on the same day. But that's what I really like. I like that they do that. I like that they release all their stuff. Yeah, that means the hype probably dies down. That's probably what they did with Stranger Things, the latest season, is that the last two episodes were long. They figured, let's wait a month to release those last two episodes to keep building up the momentum. And maybe that's a new marketing strategy they should do for certain properties or certain shows. And I think that was an experiment. So they're gonna need to figure out what's gonna be the next show after Stranger Things that's gonna get them back on the road. I say I say maybe bring back Twin Peaks, maybe remake Twin Peaks, or I don't know, continue it. Get with David Lynch about possibly continuing it with one final season. But I actually like the return for what it was, and maybe the best they should not touch it. Or maybe they should talk to M. Night Shyamalan about making the Unbreakable series into a television show about realistic superheroes. I mean, that's part of the superhero trend, but it's different. It's an idea. But Tokyo Sinks is one I highly recommend. So I don't know how. I mean, you really have to subscribe to their YouTube channel to kind of catch up with some of the shows that are coming out in the next month, which I actually like. Or, they advertise it on their social media. And maybe that's the thing. Maybe they're hyping up shows, and after you watch it, they cancel it. So, like, dumping content out and trying to figure out what could be the next show that could be like Stranger Things. That's going to get people to stay on the platform. And I guess they have not found that show. I'm going to tell you, Bodyguard was a good ass show. Bodyguard is a criminally underrated television show, and I would love for them to do a anthology show of that to to really get you involved in that. I heard Dracula was really good. The BBC British show Dracula. And I haven't really heard any anime, maybe except for Beastars, to really like stick out. And some of their animes are good. I haven't watched some of their. Um, I haven't watched all of their animes, but again, something that is not a Netflix original outshines the Netflix. Like they had Naruto, they have they're reviving One Piece, and I think One Piece was one time I think trending out of all the Netflix animes that they have on there. So maybe, and maybe this is the thing, they should not pay hundreds of millions of dollars to license a show they have on their platform. I don't think they should freaking do that. They should have done is should have made more movies or shows, something experimental to get people to watch, to something that could say this is a Netflix original. I'm proud of it, like Stranger Things, to keep people invested instead of just forking over that amount of money just to have a popular show that was culturally impacted. I mean, yeah, maybe the show is, it's harder to find with DVDs no longer becoming irrelevant sooner or later. I mean, I don't think it's going to be on Tubi. I think no matter what, whatever company produced that particular show, they're gonna have it on their platform, and then they're gonna say, no matter what, our show's gonna be on this. Like Seinfeld, I think that's HBO Max. That's always gonna be on HBO Max. So I think Netflix needs to really figure out. I'm kind of one that goes against the grain, the trend here, but maybe they need to figure out genre and quality wise and story, because it doesn't seem like, I don't know, maybe a mixture of things. And I think Stranger Things feels nostalgic to people because it has an 80s vibe. They just made, I think, what's that song, Running Up the Hill. They just made that singer who sang that song like 30, 40 freaking years ago back in the 80s relevant again. And I think this show is revitalizing or getting people to be interested in the 80s era again. So they need to find something of a Netflix original that's kind of nostalgic in a way to get people invested in that nostalgia. I think nostalgia sells. Nostalgia does sell. And I'm noticing there's certain properties that are coming back. Like I think Animaniac's been back for like 2 or 3 years now. I have not really kept up with it. I don't have Hulu. Amazon's bringing back Lord of the Rings, the prequel series. You got Disney doing Star Wars. Netflix. Honestly, Netflix, I have a few ideas for y'all that you might want to listen to. That you might want to listen to. That might get people back in the. I mean, they're even trying to do anime. Some of them have been okay. I think the best anime adaptation Netflix has done is The Wolf Brigade, which is also an underrated anime, and I think the live action is underrated as well. I heard it was produced by South Korean Warner Brothers, and I think the movie bombed over that location, but that movie I think is one of the best Netflix originals I've seen, one of the best anime adaptations, second to Detective Pikachu. So, maybe that's the thing. Maybe with, and I think maybe that's what Netflix might try to do now because they're bringing Resident Evil. I haven't really played the games. Actually, well, I played Biohazard, and I would like to go back and continue playing it. And maybe that's their end game in the sleeve is to see what works. And I think they are. I think they're going to lean towards more video game adaptations and maybe anime adaptations. And if they continue with that trend, they really need to hire people that really love the property to know what they're doing. I've researched that there's going to be a Naruto live action adaptation. I'm actually scared of that. I'm frightened of that. I know. I think there's a Yu Yu Hakusho live action that's currently being filmed for Netflix in Japan. I don't know what's the state of it. I haven't heard anything much about it, but I'm terrified. Um, I've seen What of Cowboy Bebop. Honestly, it was okay. Haven't seen the whole series, but my brother likes it. The Bleach, I've seen the first few episodes. The Bleach movie, live action movie, was not bad. I actually kind of liked it. I have not seen the Full Metal Alchemist movie, but I highly recommend the Wolf Brigade. And I think there's a tons. I swear to God, Netflix, if you watch this, I could tell you, I could tell you quite a few anime adaptations and video game adaptations that I know would probably work. Naruto is not one of them. I hope I don't know what company is adapting Naruto, but my God, mm, mm, Naruto is not the one. It's not. I'm telling you, DBZ is not either. Outlaw Star maybe. Outlaw Star is a maybe, but I can't be no damn 10 episodes. Maybe 15, cutting some of the filters out. Maybe Blue Submarine number 6. Maybe Vampire Hunter D. Or maybe some of the Hanna-Barbera cartoons adaptations. Maybe Birdman. Or maybe Space Ghost to Coast. Or maybe, what's that other one that's like Herculoids? The Adventures of Johnny Quest. I could definitely see a live action movie or series with The Adventures of Johnny Quest. I actually had an idea for that, which I might write. Don't steal that shit. Well, it's not my property, but I have an idea for that. You just never know, man. I mean, you just don't know. You don't know. You don't. Mm, you don't know. Maybe some indie games could be stretched out into a TV series or maybe a movie. I actually watched the gameplay of this indie game voiced by Willem Dafoe, James McAvoy, and Daisy Ridley. I think it's called 13 Minutes or 12 Minutes. And that was actually a good thriller, a psychological thriller video indie game. Shoot, maybe adapt iNinja into a freaking animated cartoon series, CGI. Okay, those are just ideas. I'm telling you. I think it's only a matter of time that Netflix is gonna find that one show. If they're not, they're screwed. Um, because then I think what they need to do instead of doing movies like The Gray Man, that's a sane high ass budget, which is I think it's a risky move, but I think it's something where I would I'll watch it for sure. That they're gonna start making cheaper movies and figure out ways to make epic extravaganzas without having a film cost that high. Which I'm curious, how in the world is The Gray Man $200 something million compared to Tenet, which is mostly practical effects, is like over $200 million. Just from the trailer. The trailer doesn't sell me like it was $200 million. Tenet, I can believe is $200 million because that shit they built everything, they did everything practical. I just don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see, and so I don't see why some of their movies have to be that damn high. Um, A24 is everything everywhere all at once, not a high budget movie. And I heard really the visual effects team took 5 to 7 people to do. I mean, yeah, they didn't have a lot of sets, but they made they made like they made it work. And maybe that's the thing that they need to do. Maybe they need to figure out approaches on making bigger movies, but doing it in an independent film kind of way. Independent film kind of way to get kind of creative and experimental to retain. I don't know to try to save money, and also Netflix, stop jacking up your goddamn prices. Stop jacking them up. That's also I think hurting too. And I would also be careful on the original content. Like I have not watched Cuties. I don't plan on watching that. I don't plan on. Mm-mm, mm-mm. I kind of get why it's there. Kind of get the whole controversy about that. But I mean, I shouldn't judge a film not seen it, but I don't know. No, no. Because there's certain movies out there that do push the envelopes. Like I mean, seriously, they push the envelopes. You've seen Kids back in '95. That's a '95 movie directed by, or the guy that written who directed Spring Breakers, and I didn't like that movie. I can tell you, people ain't gonna really watch movies that are really, really close to reality, but in a dark way. They just not. If it's an action film, maybe. But if it's like dark to where you feel like you could actually be there, like Come and See and Kids and like those very grotesque, darker like movies, I'm gonna just straight up tell y'all gonna alienate your audiences. Because there's movies out there that are controversial as hell. There's a reason why you don't hear about it because when it came on, people try to bury them. Like they're burying cuties. I don't blame people. You know, I don't blame. I don't think I'm gonna watch that. It's been out for 2 years already. Uh, but again, with Netflix, I praise Netflix for trying to produce original ideas that try not to be a part of the traditional Hollywood system. I would say system, or the I guess the process that works, the storytelling method, the trends that works for studios to make people accumulate money. And it's funny because sometimes if you do a film too many times of the same way, if you don't bring out anything unique, and it's the same thing like The Losers with Chris Evans and Idris Elba and whoever's in there, it's a forgettable film. That movie I talked about was on HBO Max, Hard Rain. Not a bad action movie. Does it do anything unique? Not really, but I think it's a good thriller. It's a it has that classic action vibes that you know you don't really get anymore. And I heard that the Terminal List is kind of trending too, because I guess it pays tribute to those old classic like masculine like action movies that we're so accustomed to we miss in the '90s. And I'm telling Anton Fuqua is an underrated filmmaker. He does not get enough credit. He keeps getting reminded like Training Day is his best film. I don't know. I don't know. But he's a good ass director. Good ass action director, which he needs to get he needs more recognition. To be honest with you, he's probably my top three filmmakers who should direct the next Sicario film, whenever that's gonna get out. That's gonna continue Daily Soldado. But again, guys, if you want like original, bold ideas for shows and movies and television shows, I'm telling you, Netflix is your one to go to, because they got quite a few shows and movies on there that you just got to, or maybe that's it. Maybe people don't know what to search. You know, maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll make a segment on here to dish out Netflix originals and content for people to check out. But it's going to be a little bit tough because one, I would like people in the comment section to put out what kind of genres that they like, because I'm gonna recommend something that is foreign, could be made American, could be made from South Korea, could be made from China, could be made from India or Brazilian. Don't matter if it's good, it has action, it has all these other factors that it's in it that makes it entertaining according to what I believe. I will recommend it. And I would tell you, or I would suggest. I wouldn't tell you. This seems kind of like I'm forcing. Uh, I would suggest that you check it out because you may never know. You may never know. Message from the King, Chadwick Boseman, I think is an underrated gem. I think this is really good. And you know what? I think also A24 needs some more recognition on some of their movies, like Adam Sandler and Uncut. And it's not Netflix. A24, Uncut Gems, probably his Adam Sandler's best freaking film. And there's a Netflix original which I want to talk about. I made a video about it a few years ago, but I got to bring it back. The Meyerowitz Stories, starring Adam Sandler, starring Ben Stiller and Dustin Hoffman. It's a comedy drama about siblings not really dealing with their finally, I guess, expressing themselves, the suppressed emotions of dealing with their father, of looking for some sort of acceptance in their father. And I thought it was one of the best movies on the platform. Very different, and I really like it. Really, like I was really invested in the story. Probably one of my favorite comedy dramas. So yeah, that's what I'll do. I actually have a list of movies that I've seen that I've already seen that I'm trying to, you know, accumulate, and then it's going to be on my watch list to put up on my on this channel to get people invested. I don't know this is long, 35 minutes, but I think people are really missing out on some good shows and good, and which means I would have to expand in other tastes and genres that I thought felt too trendy, and it just didn't really speak to me. But maybe that's something I kind of need to venture out just to see. Well, maybe it's a show good for you. Um, yeah. I think that's what I'll do. Message from the King is one like you gotta check out. I think it's a very good action movie. It's a low budget indie film, but it's one to where I think I but personally believe they used what they had to good effect with filmmaking. I think the filmmaker made a controversial horror film before Message from the King, but I think that's a little off topic. But yeah, that's what I'll do. Comment below, let me know if you have any Netflix suggestions that anybody who feels like they haven't, you know, um, don't know what to watch on the channel, and I'll let you know. Um, definitely, and I'll definitely post some on TikTok. Now I feel like I have something, something of a use for TikTok now. All right, till next time.